Hello and welcome to Cloud Forest Vibes. My name's Bobby, and this is how I grow orchids and carnivorous plants. Hello and welcome to Cloud Forest Vibes. So today we are not only trying a new camera angle, which is exciting because I think it's gonna, oh gosh, if I don't do that. Today not only are we trying a new camera angle, but we're going to be working on a new orchid. This is my Catasetum schunkei, and I don't know if you can already tell what's going on or not, but it's going to go on a mount. I know that this is a bit controversial, but I also know that this plant is an epiphyte, and in nature it does grow attached to a host tree. I've looked up a lot of in situ pictures of these plants, and it seems for the most part they grow epiphytically. I did see some where they were growing terrestrially or lithophytically, but I feel like the big thing with this is moisture. Obviously it comes from an area that has a very intense wet and dry season because of the rest that it needs. But what we need to do is figure out a way to keep this plant happy during growth. So this plant does have a new growth on it, and I haven't even really taken it out of the pot yet. So this is going to be a first. We're going to check this out together. I've only had this plant a couple days, and I have really dried out moss right here. It's crispy dry, and I have two mounts. This is actually the mount that the Dendrophylex hybrid came on that I took off and I put on the new cork. But what I've done is I've sprayed it down with Phison. I've let it dry out just to kill off any nasties. It does still have some green on it from algae that was on there before, but I'm not too concerned about it. It will be dead, and it's going to stay dry for quite some time because this hasn't started producing roots yet, and this isn't going to get watered until it does. The roots are going to have to be several inches long based off of everything I've ever heard and everything that I've been advised so far by my friends who have kind of taught me so far everything I know about Catasetums. It's a really new thing to me. I really love these plants. I think that they're awesome. I admire them in everybody's collection, and I'm terrified of them. So perhaps like a lot of you are with the Lepanthes and some of the cloud forest orchids that I grow, this is absolutely foreign to me. This is like an alien. So we're going to go through this together from start to finish. If I kill it, then I'm going to be really sad, but we're going to do it together. So having that said, we're going to go ahead and get this out of the pot. I'm going to stop rambling on, and we're going to get it on a mount. The other piece of cork I have here is a brand new piece of cork, and we're just going to take this out. We're going to, look around at both. I'm going to show you the whole process that I use to figure out how I'm going to mount an orchid, and we're going to go from there if I don't kill it first. So here we go. We're going to pull this out of the pot. It is bone dry. I mean dry, dry, dry. Looks like the old roots have been trimmed, which is great, saves me the hassle. We're going to take this moss and we are going to just toss it. What I'm going to do, oh look, I just see, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's just the first little signs of roots, just little bulges coming on down there. Oh, one root tip started. So I am going to do something. I'm going to trim this up a bit more because I don't want this organic material, this extra stuff that's dead, to foul this plant. I don't want it to rot. I don't want it to be affected by it at all. So we're going to go ahead and trim this old dead stuff off. Oh, let me see. I don't know if I've sterilized these. I'll be back. So I just have 70% alcohol here, pure alcohol, and we're going to go ahead and give it a spray. It's dripping wet. I'm going to do the same with these just in case we need them. I kind of flip-flop back and forth. It kind of depends on my mood. 85% of the time I use alcohol. Every now and then I use Phison. So we have that nice and wet. We're going to go ahead and light it. Get a little blue flame going on. and the quick evaporation is what kills everything on there. So I know you've heard that before, but I truly believe in it. So we've got everything nice and sterilized now. We're going to go ahead and start cutting. So I'm going to do the back side of the plant first. I can kind of hack a little bit easier. I don't have to worry about cutting off the new growth or doing anything foolish. These are aquascaping scissors. I use the ones with the curved blade. I think it helps you get into tighter places. And they're very cheap. You can find them online. They are mild to wild, trust me. Aquascaping is kind of like the orchid hobby in the sense that if you want to spend money, you can. That's a fact. So there are several brands out there, call them offshoots or whatever, off brands, but they are absolutely the ticket. I mean, this is Do Aqua, D-O, I believe, yeah, sorry, D-O exclamation point Aqua, and it's a very sensible price alternative to some of the other brands that you find out there. I'm going to go ahead and finish this thing up. It's weird not spraying a plant down before I work on it. I'm going to say that right now. This is completely foreign. I do feel like I just found an alien. So I'm going to carefully finish up what I'm doing, and I will be back. We'll go ahead and get this thing on its mount. Okay, so we're back. We've got this thing all cleaned up. I know you guys can see it, but this is everything that we took off. I mean, besides the moss, of course, we took a whole bunch of dead roots off, and that's just going to keep everything better, everything happier on the mount. We don't want a bunch of stuff decaying and rotting. So this is the plant. It's a pretty small Catasetum type, one of the smallest I hear, and that is the new growth. So it's pushing on nicely, and again, I doubt you can see, but we have some roots just starting right there. So this is a great time. I'm going to go ahead and strap it to the mount, kind of like this, I feel. Maybe like this. And we're going to let it grow on. But first, we've got to select a mount. I already know which one I like more, but I wanted to give myself multiple options so we could figure out which one's going to look best. So this, I like the weathered look of it. We could get that on there kind of nicely like that, I believe, and give it a good chance. But what I don't like is the fact that it's got a whole bunch of algae on it. I need to scrub this thing off. I need to get it cleaned up before I really feel comfortable using it again. I don't want all the hard work we did trimming all the nasty stuff off this to go to waste because we left dead algae on there. So I do think this is a more attractive mount, and I think what we're going to do is place this orchid about centrally, kind of like this, and it's going to give it plenty of room to go up, creep in, and we're going to just load it with moss all around this plant. So that's what we're going to do. That is a little sneak peek of what we're going to hopefully look like. Maybe down a bit farther, yeah, something like that. So I'm going to get set up. I've already got my line tied, so I'm just going to get it strapped on here, and I'll be right back for the next step. So we've got our orchid here. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to strap this onto the mount first. I think there's a nice little groove here, and I'm going to utilize that to position this orchid in a manner that's going to be workable. So I've already got the line tied on, and we're just going to go ahead and go around this growth carefully to avoid the new growth, just to get the plant fastened on there. I'm going to go kind of loose because I want to tip the plant back, and I do not want to cut into the rhizome. This is the one, this wrap here is the one that's really gonna make this plant stick. And I'm not gonna crank down too hard, but I want you guys to see that one wrap was used to hold the plant, and 1 wrap was actually used to fasten it. I think that's going to be pretty good. The way it's going to be hung in the greenhouse, the orientation of the light is going to be in that direction. So that's going to provoke this growth to kind of come up this way and hopefully push its next growth out up the mount this way, where it gives it plenty of room to grow and expand. So I'm comfortable with that, but I'm going to go over this area one more time just to give me an extra wrap. Nothing tight yet, just to kind of hold this thing in place. And I'm going to sit this down on my line to kind of hold it taut, not too tight, but enough to where it's not going to completely ruin all of our progress. Now we have our really, and I cannot stress that enough, crispy dry moss here. I've never actually rehydrated moss to dry it out to put it on a mount before, so this is kind of interesting in and of itself. But what I want to do is I want to place this moss in a not too compact bundle, but in abundance all around this plant. We're going to do it to the bottom, we're going to do it to the sides, we're going to make sure our new growth is not too crowded yet. We're going to come all the way up the top, and we are literally going to coat this whole mount in moss. I know these are moisture loving plants, I know they love to feed, but I also know that I can grow these orchids mounted if I try hard enough. So I need to be able to provide enough moisture when it needs it, but being on a mount, it will dry out pretty quickly if I want it to. So come the dormancy season, I feel like this plant's going to be okay. I feel like I'll be able to dry it out thoroughly, leave it dry, and hopefully next season we'll be seeing another growth and blooms, hopefully. So I'm going to go ahead. I need 2 hands and I need to concentrate, so you'll probably get flashed in here and there, but I'm going to go ahead and get on with this thing, and you'll be back in a few minutes with me to see the finished product. I really didn't give myself enough line either. Wow. I'm going to have to tie another piece of line onto this. But we are making progress. Alright, so our first piece of line is going to get tied off. I can't believe I did that. Alright, so we're tying this piece off, and then I'm going to have to go ahead and put another one on there because I did not give myself enough. Oh, that's disappointing. And that is what we're working with so far. I have to get another piece of line out. I have got to get some more moss on this mount for sure up here. But that is what we're looking at so far. It looks great. I am nervous about this. Hopefully it works as good as it looks. So I have some more moss here that's dried out. We'll see. Great, now everything's wrapped around my toe. This is a dysfunctional video. Oh my goodness. It is a struggle sometimes, guys, to get things mounted. This is actually one of the toughest mounts I've ever done, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so nervous about getting the plant crowded. I just need to relax. Okay. I mean, I am pretty happy with that right now. Okay. So much of this is off camera, I'm sure. But I think we finally got it. This has absolutely been the toughest mount that I have done in a very, very long time. I'm not gonna lie. I was just as nervous mounting this thing as I was the first time I ever unmounted and remounted a Lepanthes. And I mean, when you're working with a miniature like that, it is so nerve-wracking the first time until you realize that they're just like other orchids. And having that said, this is completely a different world. This was tough, man. So I got really picky about keeping pieces of sphagnum moss directly off the rhizome. I got really picky about a lot of things on this mount, and I'm happy I did. I think it's going to turn out successfully, at least for now, hopefully. Knock on wood. That is my Catasetum schunkei. It is mounted. I'm going to have to twist it a bit because that's what I would rather see. And the new growth is right there. There's no moss directly around it. The roots are hopefully going to come out and spread around and get all in throughout this moss. If I have to, I'll add more along the edges to make sure that it stays moist longer. But I think it looks great. I just cannot wait to see this thing start to get its foliage and just get big. I'm really excited. So that is mounting a Catasetum orchid, the Catasetum schunkei from Tarzan Group, and what a nice plant. It really is. I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't be more excited. And we're gonna go take a look at this in the grow room. I'm gonna find a spot for it because I have absolutely no idea where it's gonna go right now. So let's go rendezvous in there and we'll see where this thing is gonna live. So we're here in the grow tent. I just snaked in here and put the Catasetum in its spot for now. It is up in the window, literally right behind the window, but facing backwards. It's going to get really bright light that way, but no direct sun for now, which is a good thing. I don't know if you can tell or not, but we have too many orchids. I don't think that's possible, but I do have a space problem. So what I need to do is I need to cull the herd a bit. I need to thin this grow room out or relocate things, and I need to figure out a way to do that. I have a few ideas. Probably one of my next videos is going to be at least one of those ideas. So I'm going to move stuff around. I'm going to possibly even get rid of a few things, and we're going to go from there. But that is my mounting a Catasetum video. That's how I'm going to try to grow it. So but that's my video for today. That is mounting my Catasetum schunkei, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. You may think I'm crazy. I am. Don't get it twisted. But it is an epiphyte, so if it grows on a tree in the wild, it's most likely going to grow on a tree or a piece of bark or whatever, a mount, some sort of something in here. The only exception to that right now is the lithophytic orchids that I grow, just because it's really hard to nail down a specific piece of stone for those guys. But I have a ton of things that are hopefully going to come to fruition here really soon, and I just can't wait to share it with all of you. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys are all staying safe. Happy growing.